got to think.
190 miles an hour off into turn 3 through the speedy dry cleanly.
Never even bobbled.
8 cars on the bottom, leading. A dozen double file, and then 3 wide with Castle in the middle.
I think right now, Mike, you really got to work hard. If you're not up in the lead right here with these first 4 or 5 cars, you've really got to work hard to get yourself up there if you're going to have any shot at all of winning this thing.
Biffle had a peek outside of Kenseth to get some clean air into that opening for the radiator.
See Denny Hamlin at 11. He has been fast all night long. He's gathering a little group on the top side there with Burton in the 31, Keselowski in the 2.
I don't know what they paved this track with, but I'd like to have some of it for my driveway because it is amazing.
5 cars on the inside. Whoa, Logano in the orange car came up almost into his teammate Denny Hamlin. Almost side slammed him. Darrell, from what we've seen so far, the only way that outside line's going to get to the front is they're going to have to hook up in tandem and push.
Well, you know, I see Burton out there, and he had a fast car that could push to the front when he had Biffle in front of him, but I don't know if he's got anybody out there right now that can go with him. There's some cars from the back, though. Carl Edwards and a couple of guys that'll be coming up through the pack that may hook up here in a second and make a move.
Matt Kenseth won his Gatorade dual race on Thursday. He did it with a great pass of his teammate Greg Biffle. Now the Biff is right on Kenseth's bumper, but those 2 Fords are unable to pull away.
But Darrell's right. Denny Hamlin at 11 pulling that group on the second lane there. They're not making any ground. They're not losing ground, but they're not making any ground.
No, and we know that Hamlin's car is pretty quick, and we know that Burton right behind him in the 31 is too. If anybody can do it, and then you got the 2 Keselowski, so they got some pretty good cars right there that maybe could make some progress up that outside. We'll have to wait and see. You're like a yo-yo when you're on the outside. You go up, and then you go back a little bit, and then you go up. Can you get up there?
30 laps to go. They're going to have to buddy up to make it to the front on the outside as we go side by side. 28 laps to go in Daytona. Last lap speed 200 miles per hour as Matt Kenseth leads his teammate Greg Biffle in Fords. Then the Chevys of Earnhardt and Harvick, the Toyotas of Hamlin and Logano, then Burton, Martin, Keselowski, and Menard, the top 10.
They just took Tony Stewart in that 14 car, the red car, up on the high side there, kicked him out of line, and he can't find a place to get back down in.
Yeah, well, that's the whole problem, Larry. If you try to make any sort of a move, somebody fills your spot, and you have nowhere to go except to the back and regroup and try to get back up through there.
He's got a little help from Ricky Stenhouse in the 6.
You're hoping when you step out, somebody will say, "Oh, that's Tony Stewart, I'll go with him," but it doesn't always work that way.
Riding with Regan Smith. He was a contender early. He's trying to work his way back up from 13th position. And Burton and Hamlin have hooked up. Here they come to the front.
That's a good tandem. Oh, but Burton's, for some reason or another, just lost a bunch of ground right there all at once. I don't know if he got loose or what happened, but he fell off the back of the 11 car of Hamlin all at once.
It's like he pushes Hamlin for a little bit, and I don't know if he starts to run hot or what. Then he has to get back off real quick.
That's got to be it, Larry, because he gives him a good shove, gets him almost up there, or gets a good head of steam, and then has to fall out of line.
And he moves Hamlin up even with the 4th place car. Lap traffic.
Squeezing by this lap car.
It's Joe Nemechek in the 87 car.
5 laps to go.
I'm glad. Making me nervous.
Hamlin has worked his way up alongside Kevin Harvick, who is 4th.
Just keeps chipping away at it, just little by little.
Everybody moving around, trying to get a little clean air to that radiator and keep those engines cool.
Well, that's the problem. If you're down there in that bottom line, you've got to get some air to that engine sooner or later. One thing about Hamlin and them on the outside, Hamlin's got pretty much clean air, so his car's not going to get hot.
Hamlin remains side by side with Harvick.
They're going to catch the lap car of Casey Mears in the 13, the white car. They'll have to go around him. There's Clint Boyer in the 15 as well, just left pit road.
Sometimes that lap car will mess up your formation like you see here. The lap cars move that front pack around a little bit and give that outside line a little better shot.
Three wide mid-pack, but moving.
Oh, baby.
Moving around a lap car.
Everybody hold a pretty wheel here.
And then they'll reform.
Hamlin could drop in line right there, and he did. He got in front of his team. Oh, there's a car off in the grass. More cars off in the grass.
3 cars sliding. Marcus Ambrose is 1.
It's Casey Mears, the 13 that they just had lapped.
Caution.
I'm just so those lap cars are so hard to get around when you're coming up on them 20 miles an hour faster than the lap car's going.
And there's Mears, and Ambrose gets away after that big spin. Fortunate, Darrell, that more cars weren't involved.
It looked like it was going to be a wad of them, but they all got them straightened out.
So let's have a look. Here's Casey Mears, and watch the blue car, the 43 of Eric Almirola, as this gets started.
Just gets real tight heading off in the corner down here. Again, Casey is getting lapped.
Stenhouse got into Almirola across the front of Mears and then Ambrose.
Well, Almirola just about.
I'm telling you.
He just barely slid through there after that happened.
I think the 9 car, Marcus Ambrose, he's got quite a bit of body damage. I don't know if it's going to be bad enough to take him out of contention or not. Look at Almirola right there. Whoopee. Nice save.
Watch this right here, though. Wow.
Well, in 2 of those cars, the 9 and 43 are teammates at Richard Petty Motorsports, Ambrose and Almirola. But Ricky Stenhouse was trying to move from the outside to the middle, and that hole just wasn't open.
Boy, you just don't get down on the apron very often in the trioval and get it straightened up and keep on going.
So the caution waves with 22 laps to go. There's Stenhouse in the number 6. There's the first contact with the 43.
I think the 13 was just forcing the 43. He had nowhere to go, and the 6 was on the outside there, and they did make contact.
Clint Boyer gets the free pass. Watch Ricky Stenhouse.
It is more like the 43 seemed to me like may have gone up a little bit as much as the Stenhouse tried to come down. I think it was just getting tight right there as they went by the slow car of Mears.
Darrell, we talked about it earlier in the show, the tri-oval here. It is one of the most treacherous places of this racetrack.
Well, you're running the same speed through the tri-oval that you are in the, through the turns. You're running 200 mile an hour through here, and you don't have but 18 degrees of banking. So the car gets really light and gets really loose as you come through here.
Mears and Ambrose have pitted. Let's get Michael Waltrip's take on that.
It just looked like what we see a lot of times here at Daytona, Darrell. Anytime you're lapping a car, people have to do something different, something that they're not prepared to do. It looked like to me the 43 car of Almirola moved up and clipped that other car and caused that accident. I think Casey Mears was doing everything he should, but you know, you're running 200 miles an hour. You're coming into the tri-oval. It's a tough turn, like you said, Darrell, and he just moved up a little bit too far and caused that accident.
Yeah, I see.